It's a terrific Thursday here on the AM show. Good morning and welcome. I hope you slept well and I hope that you're looking forward to today, and the weekend is beckoning. So we're super excited about that. My name is Enimado, and of course on the show this morning we have all the conversations that you're wanting to have. First of all, Parliament, right? This week they've really been something, haven't they? Well, yesterday the minority leader moved to have the budget unapproved or disapproved, or he wanted a turnaround on the approval of the budget. So obviously the minority is not happy with the fact that the approval went forward. We'll have that conversation with some MPs this morning because we really want to understand what this back and forth is all about and ultimately what it means for us. Because if it's not approved, then everything is at a standstill. Is it becoming about politics? Is it even possibly becoming about ego? Is it becoming about one side having a better strategy over the other side? Well, we'll have all those conversations surrounding the budget a little later on in the show. Also, we've been told that some persons in Ghana have been diagnosed with COVID-19, the new variant, Omicron. We're going to have a conversation with the Ghana Health Service. The most important question on our minds, well, on my mind, and I'm sure on your mind as well, is that Christmas is fast approaching, and with Christmas comes the influx of tourists. Are our airports ready for that kind of influx? Are we going to shut our borders temporarily? Are we going to maybe even come down on the numbers of people that we're allowing to come in so that we can protect ourselves? And as we are pushing for vaccination month, how is that going to work against lots of people coming in and this new variants that we have discovered? The Ghana Health Service will be answering all your questions. We'll also have some of our very good friends who are experts when it comes to COVID-19 addressing that as well. Also today, I would love to hear from you what you think about concerning what has been going on in Parliament. We have news, we have showbiz news, and of course we have lots of fun for you this morning. Coming up next is Mapitso Sabidi with the 6 a.m. news. Stay tuned in.
Hello, my name is Evans Mensah, and you can relive all the fun and excitement on Top Story, Newsnight, and of course Ghana Connect via podcast. All you need to do is to log on to myjoyonline/podcast. Search for your favorite show and relive the moment. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM News with me, Mapitso Sabidi. We start the news from Parliament, where First Deputy Speaker Joe Osei-Owusu has overruled the minority leader's motion to overturn approval of the 2022 budget. On Tuesday, the majority moved a motion of rescission and overturned the minority's rejection of the budget and consequently passed the budget in a one-sided House after the minority boycotted sittings. The minority argued it was unconstitutional for Joe Osei-Owusu to take the seat of the Speaker and also vote. The minority said the Speaker cannot be a referee and a player at the same time.
The Constitution is very clear, Mr. Speaker, that first 102, a quorum of Parliament apart from the person presiding. A quorum of Parliament apart from the person presiding shall be 1/3 of all the members of Parliament. 1/3 of all the members of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I emphasize the word apart from the person presiding to begin an argument about a chain of arrangement that intends that when we are discussing the question of quorum, we should always leave the person presiding. That anytime we are discussing quorum, we should always leave out the person presiding. That is the argument. Whether it is a quorum to transact business or a quorum to take decision, always leave out the person presiding.
Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu disagreed.
Mr. Speaker, since Friday up to yesterday, the position of my colleagues on the other side was that nothing bad had happened when they purportedly took a decision binding the entire House, which was supported by 137. Mr. Speaker, the hazard of that day, and you hear some spirited efforts to the effect that, apart from the 137, there was one MPP MP hiding somewhere in some corner. Today, you are saying that it's 274. Mr. Speaker, the hazard captures this.
I want to listen to him.
Nobody should attempt to throw dust into the eyes of the general public. Mr. Speaker, and then I hear one of our respected colleagues saying that the Speaker cannot be counted as one of us, much less to participate in the voting. Mr. Speaker, the Electoral Commissioner who supervises our elections is not barred by any law from voting, even though he declares the election. Because that was the position of the Honorable Dominic Aini. That was the position of Honorable Dominic Aini. And that's why I'm responding to him. But Mr. Speaker, we are dealing with the standing orders. Mr. Speaker, the minority leader is also attributing a statement to me that I said the motion should be approved subject to some concessions. Mr. Speaker, I never on this floor said the motion must be approved subject to concessions. I never.
Addressing a press conference, Minority Leader Haruna Jusu criticized the First Deputy Speaker for ruling on the motion instead of putting it to vote.
Today we have been told that deputy speakers are not speakers. Our standing orders have been set aside. Any of you here, open your standing order and read the definition of speaker. It includes deputy speakers and persons presiding, as is expected of them under Article 102 of the Constitution. When you hear the Constitution, and go to the record, I have used it on the floor of Parliament. When you hear the Constitution say, except otherwise as provided in the Constitution, those of us who understand constitutional law, it operates as a limitation that in the exercise of that authority and mandate, have respect to other provisions of the Constitution. In any case, is it our minority they want to teach Article 104? Go to the record. I, on Thursday, 25th, stated on the floor of Parliament, reminding Speaker Bagbin that tomorrow, Friday, I will invoke Article 104 of the Constitution. At that time, as boastful and arrogant as they have been, they said they will populate it. So today you have seen what population does. The First Deputy Speaker simply abandoned putting a question on a motion and opted to give a ruling. You don't rule on a motion. The motion was accommodated. The motion was seconded. It was debated. All he needed to do was for the House to decide. But they knew that on their side, their numbers were not enough. It's to remind President Akufo-Addo and the majority leader that majority in Parliament is majority present and voting, not majority outside the presence, the chamber, in the skies. No, members available, present and voting. That is what the Constitution contemplated, even in Article 104.
Away from Parliament, it is one of the busiest towns in northern Ghana. Its dense population and geographical location making it an ideal area for an economic boom, and yet internet access for many of its residents and a lack of technology education equipment in most schools have held dreams for many of its young people. Kind courtesy ATC Ghana, the wireless tech giant, some students in one of Boku's largest basic schools have an opportunity to change this narrative. Justice Bhaji witnessed the opening of the town's first digital community center to help address this.
Welcome to Boku, one of northern Ghana's economic powerhouse towns. This town, bordered to the north by Burkina Faso and to the east by Togo, is a mixed bag community for people from all walks of life. And yet, despite its immense economic potential, and like many other areas in northern Ghana, many schools here run without ICT equipment.
In fact, learning of ICT is very difficult for us because we have no computer lab.
This troubles the children here. Zainab Mohammed, now 16 years and in her final year, is one of them. She wants to be a lawyer, she says, but studying with no computers in 2021 in one of Ghana's hardest to reach areas make it all the more difficult.
When we are learning ICT, our master always write it on the board for us, and we don't normally understand it. So at times we always bring his laptop to teach us how to type and other things.
Zainab and her mate in the Almiya Islamic School would be lucky now. They have a place to go to for ICT education. Kind courtesy ATC Ghana.
As a technology-focused company, American Tower is very invested to ensure equal access to quality ICT education to everyone. And when I say everyone, we have a particular focus on DEI. When we say DEI, we are talking of diversity, equity, and inclusivity.
In the name of Almighty God, we launch this.
The facility is going to help a lot. Learning in ICT, teachers are going to learn, students are going to learn, others are going to benefit, and outsiders. And so we are very, very grateful.
Anything need a practice. When you learn how to type and you understand it better than write it on the board.
The digital community space and they plan to do more. Justice Bhaji. Joy News, Boku.
Let's talk health now. With threats of a possible surge after the Christmas festivities, the rise in cases with the fourth wave and the emergence of the new COVID-19 variant, Omicron, the Health Ministry has started a mass vaccination exercise aimed at getting 20 million people inoculated by January 2022. Sector Minister Kweku Agyemang-Manu, who announced this at a program to declare December as the National COVID-19 Vaccination Month, indicated vaccination certificates would be inspected to ensure compliance. Hannah Odame was there for Joy News.
Health Minister Kweku Agyemang-Manu says before early January 2022, all health workers, security personnel, school staff and students above 15 years, all government workers and all commercial drivers are mandated to get the vaccine. He adds certificates will be inspected before entry is granted into some facilities.
It is also going to be mandatory to visit the following venues: nightclubs, beaches, sports stadiums, so all those who want to go to eat indoor restaurants, you should be vaccinated. and we have a way of checking on your vaccination cards before you're allowed into restaurants to eat.
The minister noted the country has enough vaccines to ensure that 20 million Ghanaians get the jabs by that time.
To ensure that the target of vaccinating approximately 20 million people in Ghana is achieved, the government of Ghana, through the COVAX facility, bilateral and other multilateral arrangements, has secured over 12 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines, which are being deployed across the country. Substantial quantities of these vaccines have been received in the last 2 weeks. Additionally, we have over 8 million doses in the pipeline expected before the end of this year. With these enormous quantities of vaccines available, we will have no excuse if we do not move closer.
Kwekwajiman Menu also outlined the rollout for the vaccination exercise.
Trained health workers will continue to be available at all health facilities and temporary health posts to administer the COVID-19 vaccine to all persons 15 years and above. In addition, mobile teams will move to towns and villages where they will be located at schools, churches, mosques, bus stops, burials, and market areas to vaccinate people.
COVID-19 ambassador and gospel musician Celestine Donko says, though she's received some negative feedback about her vaccination advocacy, she's urging everyone to get the jabs.
One of them said, Celestine, I'm disappointed in you. Do you know Jesus? He will not take the vaccine. But eventually we took it. So what shall I say unto Ghanaians? Go and take the vaccine, it's safe and effective.
For Joy News, I am Hannah Odami.
Coordinator for National Ambulance for Western and Western North regions, Dr. Terry Asiama, is asking government to consider building facilities that project into the future, especially in the case of infections. He says when COVID-19 arrived 2 years ago, the world was not ready for it, hence the many challenges and deaths recorded worldwide. He believes stakeholders in the health sector must now stay one step ahead of nature in preparation for the next pandemic outbreak. He has been speaking to correspondent Nathala Kwanzaa at the sidelines of a health screening by Sycamore Medical Center for residents in Takoradi.
2 decades of experience as a medical practitioner, Dr. Teria has forecasted that new viruses will continue to emerge, perhaps more frequently in the near future. The medical director and chief executive officer at the Sycamore Medical Center narrates how the pandemic shook the Western region and the country at large because of unpreparedness. He says the lessons learned must be taken seriously, especially this festive season, though COVID-19 seems to be disappearing gradually.
In fact, we learned a lot during this new infection, which was very devastating. You see, because it's a new disease that just came and nobody really knew how to go about it. We were all taken by surprise. But within a short time, we learned a lot and we realized that preparing for the future is always very useful. Initially, the drugs were a bit of a challenge, but we were able to make arrangements and got the appropriate drugs. And we learned very quickly. And so we were able to save a lot of lives. So I think that hospitals should have facilities that we should be able to project into the future, especially when it comes to infections, because COVID is not going to be the only disease, the only highly contagious infection we'll be having.
The coordinator for the National Ambulance for the Western and Western North regions, who also operates his own ultramodern health facility in the Western region, has also been speaking on how his foresight some years ago to inculcate some facilities at his hospital saved a lot of lives from death during the heat of the pandemic.
We are foresighted, so we have always planned for the future, And so we realized that for infections that are highly contagious, one needs to make special provisions for such patients. And so we designed isolated wards, single rooms that we have equipped, highly equipped to take care of patients that have infections that are highly contagious. During COVID, we really saved a lot of lives using this facility. And now, although COVID is still around us now, it's gone down considerably. And so we are seeing very few, if any.
In preparation towards the festive season, where residents of Takoradi celebrate with the masquerade groups coming together in huge numbers, the Sycamore Medical Center organized a health screening exercise and free consultation for over 1,000 residents. For Joy News, in Athalia Kwansa, Takoradi.
Away from that, the Conference of Directors of Education Ghana wants better working conditions for its members. President of the conference, Peter Blair Akakweson, indicates that the provision of a better working environment, payment of allowances and incentives should be considered as they go through a series of plights to discharge their duties, especially in remote areas. He also entreated the private sector to help resolve the infrastructure deficit in schools and implored government to increase the remuneration of support staff. Mr. Blair Akakweson was speaking to Joy News on the sideline of the 28th Conference of Code held in the Volta Region capital, Ho.
Offices of Education Directorate are very deplorable. In my office, for example, when it rains, you cannot work in the office. So the machines, the little amount of machines that we have, cannot even withstand the weather. You see. Since 2016, we've been fighting over these allowances. That is not forthcoming, you see. And our counterparts, get allowance. Because day in, day out, look, I am the leader, but I was talking about that. I was just articulating the voices of the directors, that they are going on retirement. And if you look at their, pension sum, the lump sum, it's nothing to write home about. You see, so people even think about they are developing stroke and all that. You understand? Or because if they were to have allowances and all that, they could be, adjusting themselves. By the time they go on retirement, they will be prepared. They will have prepared a place to lay their eyes.
We have just a day to go for the start of the Kumasi edition of the Habitat Fair 2021. Starting this Friday, the fair is expected to give stakeholders the opportunity to explore opportunities in the real estate market. Mona Lisa Frimpong reports on the much-anticipated Love FM DBS Habitat Fair.
Shura FM DBS Habitat Fair, and this year promises to be exciting as we all converge at the Kumasi City Mall on the 3rd to the 5th of December. So if you're looking to buying a house or acquiring land or even building, please, the right place to be is at the Kumasi City Mall, and you don't have to miss this year's edition of the Love FM, Shura FM DBS Habitat Fair.
The theme is home ownership, to build or to buy. Take a listen to DBS Industries, lead sponsor of the Love FM Habitat Fair.
As you know, we are already running a promotion dubbed the Bosu Free. Bosu Free is about DBS giving you free installation on all your roofing. All you need to do is to buy the materials, that's the roofing sheets or your trusses, and we will come and install it for you at no cost. But when you come to the Habitat Fair, we are bringing you a very, very special package. That is, in addition to the Bosu Free that we are already giving to all our customers, those patronizing the Habitat Fair are going to get additional 5% whooping discount.
For DBS, we have Kalalin Plus that gives 20 years against fading. our 20 years warranty is not just word of mouth, it's certificate we are issuing to our customers. So for your roofing sheets, you need to come for DBS Colourlink Plus. It has a self-cleansing property that normally washes the surface of the sheet anytime it rains. So those of you in the dusty areas, new sites, DBS recommend Colourlink roofing sheets to you.
Heinz Feed Enterprise has assured patrons of reduced and affordable products. Rexford Brobe is director.
We are a technology company in roof inspection. We have other services that we provide, but for now we'll talk about roof inspection. So we use infrared technology to detect anomalies on your roofing sheets. So we are offering promotions, which is mouth-watering promotion, because we want everybody to appreciate the power of technology when it comes to even roof inspection. Yeah, we can see things that ordinary person cannot see on your roof.
The Habitat Fair is expected to attract thousands of prospective homeowners. Kennedy Digital Satellite and exhibitor will be featuring.
And we are giving a lot of discounts because of the Christmas promotion and other things. Whatever you're going to buy Kennedy Digital Satellite, you have something for free. That is when you are going to have value for the item that you bought already. I want to say that fufu pounding machine, that is what we are branding for now. There are no children at home to pound our fufu for us, and then people are there saying that there is no job in the country, and so on and so forth.
This year's edition has top real estate companies and industry players introducing their products and services to patrons. The Habitat Fair is taking place at the Kumasi City Mall from the 3rd to the 5th of December. Events and Promotions Manager at the Kumasi unit of the Multimedia Group tells of his preparedness.
In fact, the housing deficit in Ghana has become enormous. So it was necessary we put together a fair to solve all the housing needs of every Ghanaian. We want every Ghanaian to own a house, either to buy or to build.
Well, you have heard from our exhibitors, so I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Kumasi City Mall on 3rd to the 5th of December. Charlie, Friday is a holiday. Be sure to be at the venue. So if you're looking to buy a house or to acquire a land or to even build, as I am, with litigation-free issues, please be at the Love FM, Insura FM, DBS Habitat Fair. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Mona Lisa Frempong reporting.
And here in Accra for the AM News, I'm Apita Sibidi. The AM show continues with any more. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. This is the AM show, and we're happy to have you this morning. If you're just waking up, well, good for you, and thank you for tuning in. And of course, we have a really exciting show for you today. We'll be talking about the budget. Yes, it continues. More drama. It's beginning to look a bit like a telenovela, isn't it? And we'll also be talking about the new variant. Well, we had a conversation on that 2 days ago, I think. But we'll be finding out some more information and also how the GHS is going to handle it, especially since we've been expecting about 150,000 people coming in for Christmas. So what's going to be happening at the airports? Are we going to try and not have that many people? What exactly is the plan so that we can contain our numbers? Because we have reported some cases here in Ghana over the past few days. But joining me this morning is Manuel.
Hi, Nimzi.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well. How about
Okay, great to have you.
Absolutely.
So what's up?
Yes. I mean, drama, right, in Parliament.
Yes.
But I think an issue of concern for people is whether or not we're going to have a regular Christmas, giving your Omicron a variant of COVID-19 that just reared its head in the country. And yesterday I saw a publication from Noguchi that we had announced 2.
Yes.
Cases. That publication said 34 out of 120 samples that they collected at the airport. And so, I mean, what the WHO says that it's not as serious as the Delta and all of that, given what they have been studying with people who have the Omicron. So, I mean, we can just hope that it is really as mild as they say.
But the thing about COVID-19, though, is that isn't it the fact that it affects everybody differently?
Yes. I mean, you can be very certain that it affects everybody differently. What Italy, Spain, and the likes were hit badly at the height of the pandemic in 2020. Ghana, I mean, we're still pretty much below 150,000.
No, we're below. I mean,
you get, and so, I mean, there are different sides for everybody.
Yeah.
But you just don't know which one is going to come at you.
You mean which one is going to kill you?
And get you.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I mean, they do say that, you know, it's not as, what's the word, aggressive, you know, as the other strains. But we don't know. We're actually expecting a lot of people coming in for Christmas. So it's supposed to be a big tourism Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, the Ghana Tourism Authority is running what it calls Christmas, December in Ghana. So, I mean, they're wooing a lot of the diasporans to come to Ghana, just like we had in 2019, a year of return.
A year of return, yeah.
Exactly. And so
well, the minister said 150,000 people.
Yes. I mean, I'm wondering where all of those people are going to pass. Traffic, Charlie.
Yeah, the traffic. But now, you know, with this, I don't know.
And that is why, if you have the opportunity to get vaccinated, please get it. Of course, the multimedia group is facilitating that, and right here,
yes, we are.
You know, the forecourt of the multimedia group. You can come in and just get vaccinated because, I mean, it's just not about you. It's like a chain, and so, well, camera technician is vaccinated. You are not. I am not. From him, the virus gets stronger because it's trying to, you know, survive, and then comes to you more aggressive. And by the time it gets to me, perhaps it will be even worse. And so, I mean, if you have the opportunity to
get vaccinated,
just get.
You should. We'll be having that conversation with the Ghana Health Service, and a lot of questions have also come about the booster shots and all of that. So we'll clarify that a little later on. But do you want to get into the newspapers?
Right, let's dig right into it and start from the Daily Statesman. Bagbin, don't politicize my health issues, on page 3 of the Daily Statesman. And you know that people are making reference to his medical trip and of course linking it to the drama that we're
I'm just saying that what a time to be out of town.
I know,
what
right?
a time.
I know, right? I mean, of all times. But to be fair to him,
of all times.
To be fair to him, his medical trip was announced way before this drama started, and so as it is, it's not as though it has any link to what we are seeing. I bet he'd like to be here.
Some may argue, some, not me.
Okay.
Some may argue, and I'm speaking for some, the observers may argue, that yes, his medical trip was announced a long time ago, but they also knew when the budget was going to be read.
Of course. I mean, if you'd be fair, right, the budget presentation itself was rescheduled, you know, a couple of times. And so...
I don't believe in this, like, haphazard... I've watched too many, you know, series, Designated Survivor, Madam President, Madam Secretary. I've watched too many of them
to believe that,
together, like, anything is a coincidence or, rescheduled. But I think all we're saying is what a time to be out, to be out of Parliament.
Yeah.
Because his people are, I don't want to say misbehaving, because that might be a little bit disrespectful, but they're just not, you know, they're just not, I just don't get it. Like it's and I'm beginning to feel like it's too much now. Like it's just too much. There's, you know, that you guys walk out, these people walk out, you know, it's become like a battle of who can outsmart who, you know.
And they're all talking about strategy. Anyway, you're not wrong to say that they're misbehaving. In fact, I'll quote Okwudito Ablakwa from yesterday. He said that if the minority had not staged a walkout on Tuesday when the budget was approved, we may have had, you know, a replay of January 6th in Parliament, which indeed we almost saw yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, the Speaker's chair was whisked away, had to take the Marshals of Parliament to get it back in place. And so, I mean, we're seeing all of these things, and it's just, 2 times or 3 times in just a year? I mean, it's one too many.
Definitely want to. And I mean, we didn't see that in the last Parliament. I don't think I've seen it actually in but yeah, they're really just outdoing themselves.
That's why the Daily Dispatch takes us down memory lane to 1981 when a similar thing happened.
When you and I both weren't born.
Well, I don't know about you, but...
But you weren't born. If I wasn't born, you definitely weren't born, please.
How do you know that?
You really, were you
my
born?
birth certificate?
Were you born?
But have you seen my birth
Let's
certificate?
just, you see, life, yes or no. Very, very simple.
No, you can't simplify life like that.
Were you born?
You cannot simplify life like that. You only say it if you know it for certainty.
Manuel,
do you know it for certainty?
Manuel,
Do you?
Were you born?
Do you know?
Wait, what? You can't answer the question. Can you imagine?
I plead the fifth.
You weren't. I can tell you that for a fact.
Yeah, so the Daily Dispatch is taking us to 1981 when Kobe was brought into Parliament and Liman's government's budget was rejected. The story is on page 2 with pictures of the late ex-president Hila Liman and then Professor
Kobe. What did they come and do with Kobe? You definitely want to tell me that story.
Yes,
about
I will tell you. In fact, how some of the MPs were locked out of the team.
Wow.
Yes, I'll tell you all about that. But the aftermath is what we have to learn from, because after the budget was rejected, the aftermath was a proper, consensus building.
I mean, he went back. I know he went back and they kind of redid the budget. And then, I mean, staying, before you move on, also staying on this budget is the whole Adwoa Safo drama. As well, with the minority saying that they're going to investigate. I think it was Okujeso Black-White who was speaking and said, they're going to investigate to find out if it was actually her or if it wasn't her. And I so wish for her sake that it was her. But this is Ghana. So even if it wasn't, probably nothing is going to happen because, but I so wish that it's her. And it's unfortunate that, the question has even come up of whether it's her, or not.
I mean, people are making reference to her, makeup on the day, that's Tuesday, had frontal, had, all of those.
No, we've seen the pictures.
Yes.
Yeah.
But again, from what we know of Adwoa Safo, she likes to look, good, which of course she deserves to. She likes to do her makeup, and so you cannot really question why, for instance, today she has frontal and tomorrow she has a short weave, or I mean.
No, I don't even think it's about the weave or the wig, but just the fact that it actually, her identity has never been questioned before. I mean, for example, if I walked into Parliament, you would know it's me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know what I mean? It's a bit, I don't know. I do hope that the NDC or the minority go through with the investigation. And I do hope that they find out.
I mean, for their own sake, I hope they do, because...
And when they find out the truth, I do hope that they actually bring it out and it's not covered either ways, because it's important. You cannot... I mean, if it's her, fantastic. If it's not, you cannot do things like this. You cannot manipulate the system and insult Ghanaians, like this. If there's a member of parliament who's not available or who's not there, that's what it is. That's where we are. Yeah. But to do this is, if it is,
on a long medical leave since August, and
if she's still on medical leave, it's fine. It's okay. She's on medical leave. These are the numbers that we have. Why don't we argue, or why don't we negotiate and get to a place where we find a space where the budget is acceptable for both of us? But otherwise, it's just manipulation and really just like trying to do what exactly?
And like you said earlier, it's now a battle of wit and strategy. So who has been in the house longer, who knows the workings and the ropes better?
The loopholes. Just sit down. Can you guys just sit down and actually just discuss the budget and see how you can make life better for the Ghanaian who is going to have to pay taxes and all? Can we focus on that and stop all this unnecessary back and forth? Because it's really just it's getting, I mean, come on. You're supposed to be like the decision makers of the country. You know what I mean? We're throwing chairs in Parliament. We saw this in January. We forgave you guys for it. Well, at least we moved on from it. We're not expecting to see it again.
And I agree with you totally. I don't know what it would take for both sides of the house to
think about the average Ghanaian and find a space that works.
To work and then see how this goes. But of course, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, you can continue with that.
But if you're looking to enjoy Christmas in Ghana as it is. Or the Ghana Health Service, and by extension a lot of other state agencies, are saying without COVID-19 vaccination cards, you cannot visit public places for Christmas. The story is on page number 11 of the Daily Dispatch. And for those of you who have been looking for a space to breathe, tomorrow is a holiday. It's a public holiday. And so the Daily Dispatch.
Are you just trying to come and make us sad?
I'm just stating facts and reporting from the Daily Dispatch.
Yeah, we'll be here, so yeah, okay.
All the best to you.
Are you not coming to work tomorrow?
No.
Why?
It's a public holiday.
I'm gonna call Elvis. I need a co-host tomorrow. Manuel is off, so he's available. Let me quickly do the international stories on page 5 of the Daily Guide. Ethiopia, government claims territorial gains over Tigrayan forces near the capital. South Africa president chides African states over travel bans. Interesting. U.S. to impose stricter testing for travelers. Of course, world's most expensive city to live in revealed. Okay, Tel Aviv. Interesting. Soaring inflation and supply chain problems has pushed up prices globally, but the Israeli city is coming top for the first time in a survey by the EIU, climbing from 5th place and pushing Paris to join second with Singapore. Interesting. I went to Dubai with 4 officials. Okay, that's the speaker. Entertainment, Ikuapem Polo back in jail. That story was kind of trending on social media over the past 2 days. Let me just do the back page. Big boost for Qatar 2022 African fans. Okay, so about 5,000 African football fans are to be provided with free sponsorship to the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. We are the monkeys. That's Patrice. Charlie. I'm just going to move on. Kotoko, oldies and dwarfs clash. Okay, that's it for me. There are a lot more stories, but I want you to go through a few of yours.
Well, of course, the Business Finder is reporting redesigned procurement system to support local entrepreneurs. The Trade Union Congress, Dr. Anthony Alba, of course, saying that a CBG hits 1 billion Ghana cedi mark in supporting individuals and MSMEs. But the story of interest for me, which I'm going to read for you, especially because we're wrapping up the year pretty shortly, is SNIT assuring pensioners of regular payment of pensions. And I am just hoping that we could work the ropes to be able to give pensioners a bit more than we give them. We've had a lot of analysts coming at SNIT, accusing them of, investing or using
the money in a way that doesn't maximize.
Exactly. The fund is for pensioners. And so, I mean, at the end of all of everything that you do, the core should be the pensions. How is it affecting the pensioners?
Yeah, but the major thing is never the major thing in this country. The minor thing, we major in minors. The minor thing somehow always becomes a major thing. And pensioners not getting enough, budget approval, disapproval. Anyway, we'll have some of our members in Parliament joining us this morning so that they can tell us what it was like yesterday, what went into some of the decisions that were made, and how come we're still dealing with this. It's Thursday. This is almost a week old.
Yeah.
It started.
Like yesterday, they put a motion to overturn the approval, which overturned the rejection. And so, like a circus, right? Going round and round and round and on the same thing. Actually had one MP said, okay, we are waiting for our speaker when he comes. When he comes. So,
as in, like the senior prefect is not there.
Yeah.
So Asipe has implemented some things, and you're like, nah. Make senior prefects come, and then we'll see.
Sort it out.
We'll see whether we'll see whether interesting. Anyway, we'll have that conversation later on. I'd love to hear from you and find out what you think about what's going on with the budget. So we'll open the phone lines as well after the sports, and then we can get your thoughts on that. But let's do My Joy Online really quickly before we hand over to Muftal. Okay, great stuff. On the front page of My Joy Online, I don't think it's called front page, but anyway, Speaker Bagbin is not an MP, but I am. Joseph Osei Owusu defends approval of 2022 budget.
And we had Ernesto Yeboah, the commander-in-chief of the Economic Fighters League. Well, he's alleging that the NDC has cut a deal with the NPP to pass the 2022 budget, and so people shouldn't fall for the drama. All of this that you're seeing is just characters who are playing their roles in a grand, scheme. And so that's what Ernesto Yeboah of
making money.
Well, do we know that? I mean, he's supposed to adduce evidence, right? You cannot just say that the NDC is in a cahoot with the NPP over the budget and not say, okay, I heard this or I saw this or I have this.
Evidence.
I mean,
that's why it's alleged.
Well, if you're alleging...
Alleged is the space between when you say it and when you find
well,
evidence.
if you're alleging and you want us to take you seriously...
Then you have to give evidence.
Thank you.
Yeah, which we're never going to get, so we should just move on. Anyways, please go to My Joy Online for all the news that you need. So news, business, entertainment, everything else. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into the sports. And then after the sports, we'll get into the budget conversation proper. It's an exciting morning ahead. I can definitely promise you that. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atto. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
Welcome back. This is still the AM show. Now, there seems to be no end in sight for the controversy surrounding the 2022 budget. There was chaos in Parliament yesterday after Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu moved a motion to reverse the majority's actions on Tuesday. That didn't go down with the majority side, leading to chaotic scenes in the House, as you can see on your screen. Yes, scenes from Parliament. Okay, I don't know. Let me just speak to MP for Tafo, Vincent Eko Asifa, who joins us this morning. So, good morning. Thank you for giving us your time again.
Good morning.
Good to see you. So this really happened yesterday?
Absolutely. But before then, let me say a very good morning to you, to your producers, and to the general public. Yesterday, around 10:40 a.m., I got to the chambers of Parliament, and even though I was expecting the minority to be in the chamber as well, just when we were just about starting, we saw the leadership, Ahmed and Haruna Idrisu, trooping in, and later some of the other members of the minority also came to join. And so we were expecting a very healthy proceedings for the day. But unfortunately, what we were expecting did not come to pass. Now, I want to describe the actions of the minority in few words. The actions of the minority in Parliament yesterday was unethical and it was unconscionable. For a minority group in Parliament to behave the way they did yesterday is one that is uncalled for. You know, on Tuesday, when the majority leader stood on the floor of Parliament and quoted Order 51, that there was an urgent motion in his estimation, which is of public importance, and he averted the Speaker's attention to it before he came to the chamber. And so the Speaker of Parliament, i.e. Joe Wise, felt that the proper procedure that was supposed to have been followed by the majority leader was not followed, but he allowed him. If you look at that order very well, Order 51, it talks about the prior approval of the Speaker before such an urgent motion will have to be moved. The prior approval will have to be done basically through writing to the Speaker, and the Speaker should have granted that prior approval, or if you like, that request to move that motion of an urgent motion which is of public importance on the floor of the House. Now, it is at the Speaker's discretion to grant you or otherwise. And if the Speaker refuses to grant you, then it means that you cannot move that motion. Same applies to even statement. The very first time that I made statement on the floor for the House, I passed my request through the Chief Whip, who later made the Speaker aware, and the Speaker granted it. They acquired a number of statements and questions that members may want to, if you like, ask on the floor of Parliament or make statement on the floor of Parliament, but it needs prior approval of the Speaker. Without the prior approval, you cannot do that. But when the Honorable Haruna Idrisu quoted Order 51, which needed prior approval of the Speaker of Parliament before he raises that motion on the floor, the Speaker told him that before proceedings started, he has been at the lobby for close to 1.5 hours. The Honorable Haruna Idrisu, knowing that this was a motion that he wanted to raise on the floor of Parliament, refused to come to him to ask for his prior approval on such motions before it could be raised on the floor of Parliament. He also indicated that the Honorable Haruna Idrisu is also a close friend, and he could have just pulled a call through to him, and it would have been accepted that such a motion was needed on the floor. Having said that, he granted the Honorable Haruna Idrisu to go ahead with the motion. Now, when the grant has been given, it will now be given the opportunity for members to comment on that motion because it is of public importance.
Of course.
And after the commentaries, it was then left with the Speaker to rule on the motion as to whether the motion has been granted or otherwise. And the motion that was filed by the Honorable Haruna Idrisu was that the supposed, in his estimation, the supposed approval of the budget, which they had rejected, was illegal and it was unconstitutional. And he was calling on the Speaker of Parliament at the time, that was yesterday, Joe Wise, to reverse the approval. And the basis for such a motion was that we did not have the numbers. The Speaker of Parliament could not have counted himself as part of the number of people who were present in the chamber at the time. And he felt that we were not up to the 138. Now, the only means for you to know that you had the numbers, let's forget about the constitutional requirements and all that. is the votes and proceedings in the House. And when you talk about the votes and proceedings, we mean the minutes of the meeting at the time. The minutes of the proceedings. That is what we call the votes and proceedings. And now when you check the votes and proceedings, the number of people who signed, which has been reported by the table office in the Hansard and the votes of proceedings, was 138. And the 138, as per Order 109 and Article 104, which has been lifted in extenso, clearly indicated that when questions of such nature will have to be put forward on the floor of the House, you needed at least not less than 1/2 of the members of Parliament to be able to form a quorum for decision, not quorum for proceedings. Because Article 102 and 104 are very distinguishable. Now, if you read Article 102, Article 102 talks about quorum in Parliament. Now, that is the heading, quorum in Parliament. Quorum in Parliament means that before the ordinary proceedings of the House will have to go on, you need 1/3. So a quorum of Parliament, apart from the person presiding, shall be 1/3 of all the members of Parliament. This is absolutely distinguishable from Article 104.
Of course.
Which is, except as otherwise provided in this Constitution, matters in Parliament shall be determined by the votes of the majority of members present and voting, with at least half of all the members of Parliament present. I am a student of law. One thing that is trite in law is that it's a constitutional maxim that the explicit mention of anything deliberately means the exclusion of the others which has not been mentioned.
Okay.
So if the framers of the Constitution or any enactment deliberately mentions that when you need a certain number of people to form a quorum for ordinary proceedings, you need 1/3. When you need to make decision or put a question for members to say ayes or nays, you need a certain number. There cannot be any other interpretation which has not been explicitly put in the Constitution of the Republic. And that is what the Honorable Haruna Idrisu and his minority sought to do. They wanted to rely on the fact that the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, at the time, is a speaker, and for that matter, he could not have counted himself as part of it. But remember, anymore, Joe Wise is first and foremost a member of Parliament. He is a member of Parliament before any other thing else. His qualification as a member of Parliament is as a first Deputy Speaker of Parliament is because he is a member of Parliament. You could not have gotten anybody outside Parliament to be a first Deputy Speaker. You could not have gotten anybody outside Parliament to be a second Deputy Speaker. But you can get anybody outside Parliament to be a Speaker of Parliament because that has been explicitly stated in the Constitution of the Republic and has been corroborated with the standing orders of Parliament. That before you are a Speaker of Parliament, if you are a member of Parliament, you must vacate your seat for by-elections to be held. Then you take up your seat. It is not so with the first Deputy Speaker and the second Deputy Speaker.
And I think yesterday one of your fellow MPs also explained to us that it wasn't that the Deputy Speaker voted. He didn't need to vote. It was really just to establish his presence.
Absolutely.
Because when there's 138, it's out of that 138 majority that something can be passed. Not that you need 138.
Let me explain that. The first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, when you assume the position of the Speaker of Parliament, loses your original and casting vote. You loses that. you cannot vote.
You can't vote.
You just cannot vote. That has been explicitly stated by the Constitution and the standing orders of Parliament.
Does the Constitution explicitly state that you cannot be counted as an MP? When
Absolutely not. That is why I use the constitutional maxim
to say that
an explicit mention of any other thing means the exclusion of all the other things that has not been said.
Okay, I'll come back to that in a second. I just want to get a view from the other side. So we're going to go on the phone lines and speak to Mr. Richard Champon. He's the MP for Bia East. He's joining us by phone. Good morning.
Good morning, my sister.
Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm sure you've been following our conversation, so you've heard the accounts that has been given to us. Is your account similar? Do you have similar views, or would you say that yesterday is a little different from what our MP here from Tafu is saying?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on your show. Actually, I just joined the middle, so I don't know my colleague who is speaking from the other side. Is this Honorable Jinapo?
No, it's not. It's Honorable Vincent.
Oh, Eko
Vincent, yes.
Oh, okay. As usual of him.
Wow, shade already? Okay.
Listen,
wow.
Good morning.
Rich, good morning.
I think the back and forth of all this drama and then the legal argument here and there, you followed it, so I don't need to repeat myself so that we can make progress. But I just want to start with our standing order. What got many of us angry yesterday in respect of the decision by Mr. Speaker, claiming that he is a deputy speaker and as such he is not a speaker of the House. Order 7, that's the interpretation of our standing order. Speaker or Mr. Speaker includes a member presiding at a sitting. So even if myself, I'm elected to preside over a meeting in the House, at that particular moment, I become the Speaker of the House. And our standing order also say, I heard him read Order 109. If you read Order 1093, it reads, a deputy speaker or any other member presiding shall not retain his original vote while presiding. Just listen to this carefully. A deputy speaker or any other member presiding shall not retain his original vote while presiding. What it simply means is that every member of parliament has an original vote. Every member, you don't have a casting vote, but you have original vote. But at the moment you are elected to preside, either you are first deputy, second deputy, or any other member, you lose that original vote. So that's the basis. So having occupied that position as a Mr. Speaker, you can't tell me that, one, you are not Mr. Speaker, I'm a member of parliament for the people of Bekwai, so I have to be counted to increase the number to 138 for political mischief so that we can take a decision. It's neither here nor there. Because you criticize the NDC for using 137 to reject the budget. You can't use the same number to rescind a very decision taken by this House. And I refer you to Order 933. I'm sure my colleague is holding his standing order. Let me read Order 933 to you. It shall be out of order to attempt to reconsider any specific question upon which the House has come to a conclusion during the current session, except upon a substantive motion for rescission. So last Friday, we took a decision. So ask him, did they go there on Tuesday to rescind the decision that we took, or it was another motion? And just look at the other paper. They gave approval on condition for some inclusion from the finance minister before the budget can be implemented. No, that wasn't the original motion on the other paper. So our argument is, reading Order 102, Article 102 and 104 together. The combined effect is the presiding officer cannot be part of the members to get a quorum. But the quorum issue, we've gone past that stage because quorum is only 92. And they were more than 92. So we are not talking about the quorum issue here. We are talking about Order 109, which is Article 104. So the one presiding cannot tell us he's not Mr. Speaker and he's representing the good people of Bekwai. So in this case, there are 138 in the room. But our vote and proceedings captured the people in that chamber as 137. The Speaker was not part of them because he was presiding.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Yesterday, the minority leader put the motion in to have the approved budget unapproved or disapproved. So this is the question. Are you asking for the budget to be disapproved or taken back because the budget does not serve Ghanaians, or because of the legalities and the strategy and the technicalities of the sitting of Parliament? Right now, what exactly is our focus?
This is a very important question because the MPP communicators are throwing some mischief around, trying to confuse the good people of this country. We are not rejecting the budget in its entirety.
Okay.
What we are saying is the e-levy rate of 1.75 is too high. Tidal wave did not find any expression in the budget. No allocation was made in the budget to deal with the tidal wave issues. Not only the Volta region, along the coastal area. A Japan deal was smuggled into the budget because civil society organizations, well-meaning people have kicked against a Japan deal. So we can't use the back door and bring back the Japan deal. And we are saying the actual agreement with GMTC. They appear before Parliament, Energy Committee and Finance Committee, met with them. And then we allow them to go to the market and do the proper engagement and come back to us so that we'll know the rate and then the actual cost at all the related markets. We did not give them the approval. So the way it was couched in the budget is problematic. So just remove it, recouch it, so that it will read what exactly you guys were told to do. So
right, but how about at the appropriations level, at the when you meet the committee level, can those issues not be ironed out? And the reason I'm asking this is that this is going on for a long time. I'm assuming that at some point Parliament is going to go on a break over Christmas, and then we're going to get into the new year. So, I mean, how long are we going to stretch this out? And I'm not just asking you, I'm going to ask, the representative of the majority as well. Are we not stretching this out perhaps unnecessarily?
I get your point. But the problem now is from the finance minister. Okay. If you do recall, when we were concluding the debate on the budget, the finance minister engaged the leadership from both sides.
Okay.
More than 4 hours. We raised all these issues, and he promised them that he's taking all those issues on board. That was the reason why Mr. Speaker allowed him to address us. So one would have expected that the finance minister who made those concessions clear to us.
Okay.
And he told us he wants further engagement. That provoked us. You spent 4 hours engaging the leaders. We've raised all the issues. So what engagement again do you need? Do you understand? So like you say, we can't hold government into ransom, and we are not trying to be obstructionist to government business. But the point is, they put this in the text, the e-levy. The rest is in the text of the budget. So if you are not careful and you go ahead to pass this budget, they bring this to committee level, they marshal all their numbers to come to the floor and still maintain the 1.75. There is neither here nor there. Let them admit that, okay, if raise issues about the e-levy, because we are saying to be tax upon tax, I pay tax on whatever I do.
Yeah.
If I buy certain things online, I pay tax on it. So if I'm paying that item online and I have to pay another tax, it becomes tax on tax. And you don't tax capital, we tax income or earnings. This is what we are talking about. But me, from where I sit, last night, we had some meetings from both sides, but I can't disclose the content of whatever happened.
Okay.
I know today we'll make progress. Well, like you're saying, we can't delay the passage of the budget unnecessarily.
Mm-hmm.
The country must move on.
Yeah.
But the right thing must be done. All what we are doing, it's not about self-gratification. It's not about me, it's not about the minority. It's about the majority of the people who are complaining about these taxes.
Okay.
So I can assure you today we'll make progress.
Okay. Okay, that's good
Yesterday,
to know.
certain things happen on the floor, which I can say is unfortunate because other members got provoked by the behavior and the ruling of Mr. Speaker. Because the point is, if I admitted the motion, if I allow members to debate the motion, it becomes the property of the House, not the property of Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, okay.
So we have to put it to vote. Allow those who are in support of the motion moved by the minority leader. You don't sit there and just give your own ruling.
Right.
It's not constitutional.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that. We'll hold you to your promise that you will make some progress in Parliament.
Yes, certainly today you will see some changes because from where I sit, we made a lot of progress. But, you know, they are in government. So their behavior, their utterances should also sound reconciliatory.
Okay.
This posture of arrogance and I know it well, they have to bury it. It's about their ego. They just want to maintain certain pride. At this stage, with these numbers, you can't eat your cake and still have it.
Okay.
They have to accept that.
All right, we'll pass on that message. Thank you so much for joining us, Richard Echampo, MP for Bia East. Okay, so let me come back to you. You heard him. There's the promise of moving forward.
Well, first and foremost, let me call him out. Senior Richard, it is untrue that the numbers that were in Parliament was 137. I can tell you on authority, and you can send your cameraman or Packer, who is your parliamentary correspondent, bring out the votes and proceedings. That is a green booklet. If the numbers that were present on the floor of the House on Tuesday was 137 or 138.
I think
it was 138.
The first.
No, but I'm just saying that Parliament is a house of records. It's a house of records because on Friday, when they finished with whatever they wanted to do, it was captured in the Hansard and captured in the votes and proceedings. So you cannot approbate and reprobate at the same time. You have to use the same document to make, your commentaries.
Yeah, I understand.
138 members signed the attendance sheet on Tuesday, and it is not right for him to say that 137 people came. Now, if you read Order 53, I want to juxtapose this order against the 93 that he read out, that you needed a motion of rescission before you can go ahead with this. Now that 53 1R says that motions on specific matters of urgent public importance, it is in reference to the business of the day or the order of business, that at every sitting day in the chamber, any member or the leadership can raise motions that has become public importance. You needed not go through a motion of rescission before you would be able to, as it were, deal with an issue that is of public importance. Look at what is happening. The videos that you are showing, very appalling. Yeah. And so nobody can convince me that this is not an issue that is of public importance. But let me say this. Yesterday, there were quite a number of the MPs, especially from the minority side, who, as it were, espoused a certain kind of posture and attitude that, for me, I will call it dishonorable. Dishonorable because you remember on the 7th of January, when we were swearing the Speaker of Parliament, i.e., the very day before the 7th, because we got to Parliament around 6th of January, around 10 to 11 p.m. The same Ashaiman MP named Honorable Nogbe. I don't know whether I should call him honorable now because of what he has been doing. Nogbe had to pull the chair of Eslausu at the time Today, a whole Speaker of Parliament's chair, a man or a seat, position, portfolio, which has been enshrined in the 1992 Constitution. Whoever sits on that chair, it's not about the persona of the person. It's about the seat itself. You go to the extent of pulling the Speaker's chair to the side of the minority. Do you know what they wanted to do? I was sitting at the back bench. Before the Speaker adjourned the House, I saw Nogbe, my very good friend, Mutala, Sam George, and some other people running to the other side of the aisle. And that has been the place that the Speaker of Parliament, anytime adjourns or closes the day's sitting, passes before he enters his lobby. And so you could see that they had gathered there with the intent to, as it were, cause a certain kind of mischief. Whether to the Speaker, I don't know whether they wanted to assault the Speaker or otherwise.
No,
but
I think not conjecture.
Mr. Honorable Richard, you know that. Honorable Richard, I'm not conjecturing. You know that. You know that where Nogbe went to sit was not the sitting place of Nogbe. You know that. Where Mutala went to sit was not the sitting place of Mutala. They all ran to the place. In fact, the Speaker of Parliament gave Mutala a chance to speak on the floor, and where he was sitting at the time that he was speaking was not the same place that he went to sit when the House was about to be adjourned. Okay. So, Honorable Nogbe, it was clear that there was a certain malicious intent on the part of some members of the House to accost or assault the Speaker of Parliament, which I'm calling them out, that it is not proper for honorable members of Parliament to be engaging in some of these acts. It's very dishonorable, and I'm happy that you said that whatever happened on the floor of the House yesterday is quite unfortunate. I associate myself with that comment, that indeed it was very unfortunate for honorable members to have conducted themselves in such a manner. We have constituents who brought us to the House for us to be able to speak to the hopes and aspirations of these constituents, that whatever they so much desire to better their lives, we will be able to deal with them. This is not what they sent us to the House of Parliament to go and do. It is shameful. It's unfortunate. It's not something that I think that honorable members should continue to be doing these things. And I'm sending a caution to both the majority and the minority that the image of Parliament, if we don't take care, we are putting it into the shatters and tatters, and that is not what I want us to see, especially for young men like us entering into the Parliament with so much hope and vision to be able to cause some amount of change in the House. This is not what we are seeing, and I'm calling everybody out. If you know that you were part of what happened yesterday, you should bow your head in shame, because this is not the House of Parliament that we so much desire to see.
No, it's not. So are you ready to, and maybe I'm asking you to speak for the majority, are you ready to put aside, you know, all of these things that have gone on and just come to the table and find a space where there can be some consensus and we can move on? Absolutely. I think that where we have gotten, that is the only way out. We need to Jojo and not to war. The only way out is egos at stake. Egos probably at both sides. And I would disagree with my brother Richard, senior brother Richard, who says that it is the egoistic pusher of the majority. No, also the egoistic pusher of the minority, who thinks that now they have the numbers. You cannot run over us the way you used to do to us when you had the numbers in 2017 to 2020. I mean, that kind of ego is something that we also have to speak to. Okay. The fact that you also have the numbers as just opposed to the majority side doesn't mean that you have to criticize for criticizing sake. Let's all get to the table, which I know that yesterday there was a crunch meeting between a 10-member committee on the side of the majority and also a 10-member committee on the side of the minority, who came together to be able to fashion out a very proper way of dealing with this matter so that it can be ended in peace. So just a question, just before I let you go, because I know that you have to go. If the speaker, the original speaker, came back or was back, it would kind of end a lot of all of this, wouldn't it? You mean Ahmad Bagbe? Yeah.
Well,
because then, you know, then every MP can be an MP, and, you know, everybody can just sit down and, you know, do what they're supposed to do.
Well, I mean, that is one side of the argument, but I believe that all of us in the House are matured people. I mean,
are you sure about that? It doesn't really look like that.
Anybody who acts dishonorable, I mean, he should answer for some of those things. But what I know is that, I mean, we are a House of Records. Our actions and inactions are regulated by the 1992 Constitution and the Standing Orders of Parliament. And so, in the absence of the Speaker of Parliament, and if you check Order 13.2, the table office will now declare that, I mean, there is an excusable absence for the Speaker of Parliament, and for that matter, the Speaker, the first Deputy Speaker or the second Deputy Speaker, who sit in for him. And now, when the law is very clear on that, it means that the member, and remember, not just Joe Wise or my senior brother, the former MP, who can sit in the chair. The House can meet, decide that today we are calling Honorable Richard Achampong, MP for Bia, to be the Speaker of the day. The Standing Orders allows for that. And so anybody who sits in the chair, it's not about your persona anymore. It is about the seat that you have occupied.
It wasn't even about the persona. It was about just the fact that if he was there, then there would a lot of these arguments would come.
That's what I'm saying, that the law is very clear. When you sit in the chair, you don't vote, you can't debate. And I don't think that the Honorable Joe Wise has voted, he has debated, he has done none of any of the things that has been prescribed by the law that he cannot do.
Yes,
absolutely. So I think that going forward today, I hope that my senior brother Richard and his side will be able to engage the majority side fruitfully, so that we could end this matter.
We hope so too. Thank you for joining us, and we know you have to rush off.
Wesley Girls anymore.
Thank you so much for being here. Let me take your final comments, Richard Achampong, MP for Bia East, as you head into Parliament this morning.
So what I would say finally is that I just want to assure the good people of this country that we've made a lot of progress, because I myself sat through the meetings. So I actually know what happened. And then this kind of bad faith shown to us, I don't think they are going to repeat it. So together we can reach consensus and make sure the right thing is done, the budget is implemented. Those things that we think will not inure to the benefit of the good people of this country are taken off, so that we'll do something right for the good people of this country who voted for us. It's not about the interest of the NDC to create problems in this country. The country belongs to all of us. But we can't sit aloof and allow few minority to ruin the destiny of our generation, or the youth who are trying to also put food on the table. So today you see some signs from the chamber and from Monday going, members to move to various committees to do their various work to make sure that by 1st January there will be a budget to be implemented.
Okay, just before I let you go, Muntaka Mubarak, we have a headline on my journal line. It says very soon we'll get to know whether Adjoa Safo was in the house or not. We also know that Okujeto Ablakwa also has said that there's going to be some sort of investigation into whether she was present in the house. What are your thoughts on that? And did you see her?
This is a very difficult question to answer, because that was the very day we boycotted the house. So all of us were not there.
Okay.
But after the proceedings, we saw some pictures. And I'm sure you've seen it.
No, I haven't seen it.
If you look at the sexual aspect of it, the headgear, the makeups and all that, clearly you can run some conclusions that this can't be Adjoa Safo. And yesterday, something interesting happened over there.
Okay.
Adjoa is a regular member of the house. And according to you guys, last Tuesday she was in the house. But yesterday, when she walked to the chamber without nose mask, and they started jubilating. So we didn't get it, meaning she wasn't the person who sat through the proceedings to make their number 137. Because on earth would any member of parliament move to the chamber and people will start jubilating?
Yeah.
So they gave us some sense. they give us some sense that then what people are saying, there could be some iota of truth in it.
Okay. Okay.
And
Well,
now we are compelling the head judge. Just yesterday, you have a different. Maybe the makeup artist is very good. Different hair.
Very dynamic. Yes. Different wigs.
The next day, the color, everything is different. Okay, something magically might have happened.
Well,
But,
I think we will rely on you to follow through with that investigation and let us know what comes up from that.
It's a very serious thing. And if indeed they did impersonate through the process, then it's a criminal offense.
Yeah.
Because you can't bring an outsider to take part in proceedings. Even ministers were sacked from participating in our proceedings, let alone an outsider.
Okay.
Who can debate, let alone vote. So we are still investigating the matter.
Okay.
So yesterday, how they responded to the whole thing gave us some sense that something fishy went on.
Okay.
But I can't draw conclusions now.
Of course not. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Richard Champons, MP for BR East, and that's our conversation on the budget. Just one more group of people we haven't heard from, and that's you. We would love to know what you think about everything that's been going on. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll do just that. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so much for staying tuned in to the AM show. Now, farmers across the country are celebrated annually on the first Friday of December for the first 5 years. Now, it's been extended to a 5-day event. This year's edition is being held in the Central Region, and we're joined by my colleague Emma Davis, who is on the ground. Hi, Emma.
Hello.
Hi there. Oh, good to see you. Okay, well, take it away. Tell us what's happening.
So today is the 4th day. However, yes, and people are still setting up. It's a bit slow because it's still early hours. But I have with me Alberta, who is the organizer of the stalls.
I'm part of the subcommittee for exhibitions for the National Farmers Day Planning Committee.
Okay, how is it going so far?
So far it's been well. It officially opened on Monday, the 29th, and we have over 200 companies showcasing their products and services, ranging from farmer groups to input dealers, fertilizer companies, irrigation companies, ICT, financial institutions, processors, food and beverage. Like, we have all kinds of people here, and a lot of companies and individuals are still trying to even get a slot to showcase their products and service. We have some even into clothing and everything agriculture and everything beyond agriculture is here. It's been challenging putting everything together, but in all, I think it's been good.
So how has been the reception from farmers or people who are taking the stalls over the years? How has it been? Has there been an increase in numbers?
Yes, there's been an increase in numbers. I mean, it keeps going up and going up. Like I mentioned, we have over 200 companies who are showcasing their produce and products and services. So it's more engaging. I think you'll be here throughout the day, so you could capture some of the engagement. Very engaging. It's been interactive. Yesterday, I was with one of the exhibitors, and he spoke excitedly about the kind of sales and engagements that he's making, which he hopes to take it further beyond the Farmers Day. I mean, we are in a week of celebrating our gala. We are here to make sales, we are here to engage, but we are here to also celebrate the farmers.
Okay, thank you very much, Alberta. So now I'm moving to Pump Tech Limited. It's a water engineering company. So kindly tell us what exactly you do.
please. Can we get to the... Yeah. Yes, PumpTech Limited, as you rightly said, is an engineering company. It's a water infrastructure engineering company. And we are into the pumping of water, and we are specialized. We have developed a strength in pumping water using solar as an energy source. So that's what we have just depicted here. As you can see, the setup. We are mimicking or depicting a borehole situation where you have water down the ground and you need to pump it out, and we are using solar as a power source. So exactly, you see it's still early in the morning, there's cloud cover, but the water is coming out of the spout of the pump, and that's how we work in real life. So this one is going into irrigation, and a lot of opportunities are there. One thing, you see, every business exists to satisfy a need, and we have identified that the production of food in Ghana, especially the vegetables, is not up to the consumption, so that you have people going into Burkina Faso and Niger to bring in onions and tomatoes, and we feel that what we do can come in to support the production, and so that is what we are venturing. We are actually inside irrigation now, and you can see this irrigation. It is a setup. With one of our pumps, you can deliver water to a reservoir, then the water will come down to the application. I think there's a beautiful setup here. If you could let us just go there, I'll explain to you. It's just around here. So in this case, you see water coming from the pump, this water coming from the ground. Let's assume this is a reservoir. It comes into this reservoir, and there's an application system here. You can see that here there's drip irrigation setup, and that is exactly what we are in for. We help farmers bring water from wherever source. It could be a pond, it could be a lake, it could be underground, and we pump it with solar. We use solar because solar is the best option because we have abundance of sunlight, and so we choose solar.
All right, well, thank you for that. And coming back from Cape Coast, of course, Friday is Farmers' Day. Tomorrow is a holiday. So happy Farmers' Day in advance to all our farmers and their wives and husbands and families and everybody who works hard to bring food to our tables. And we'll definitely celebrate them tomorrow. But right now, we want to get into our conversation on COVID-19. And just when you thought it was over, just when you thought it was about to get better, just when you thought we were done with the waves and things were going to be still, here comes Omicron. And now we have to deal with that, and maybe Christmas won't be Christmas like we thought. Asiedu, he is a CDD fellow and a good friend of this show. A very good morning to you, gentlemen, and thank you so much for sharing your morning with us.
Morning.
Morning. Okay, so let me start with you. I was going to say doc, but then both of you are docs, so it'd be difficult to distinguish. So Kwame, let me start with you this morning on Omicron. Do you Omicron? Do you want to tell us about what we know about it so far? Just, the basic...
I mean, I'll start by saying it's early days. So the conversation is evolving. What we know is that this is a different strain of the virus that has a lot of changes on its surfaces. It's not just on what we call the spike protein, but it's got a lot of changes on all over it. And these changes are giving people a lot of concern because some of the changes have been seen in other variants may have changed. Because of the increased transmissibility, there are other changes as well that show that it could just escape recognition by the immune system, especially the antibodies. So those are the two major things that are of concern, because if the transmissibility changes, then it means it spreads quicker. And if it gets higher immune escape, then it means that it renders vaccines less effective. So what does that mean to the ordinary person? What it means to the ordinary person is that you need to pick up your protection, wearing your face mask, social distancing and other things. And the other part is that you need to get fully vaccinated as soon as possible, because the higher the antibody levels, the pandemic hasn't changed, even though Omicron has come. Yes, it's giving concern, but even then, we are getting some information that's coming in from South Africa, who've done a fantastic job, which shows that the disease-causing potential, people are getting less sick. The diseases are milder, which is a good thing, which may indicate, again, I'll say it's early days yet, that the virus is mutating itself to be less.
Okay, Dr. Amoisi, let me come to you for a second. So obviously we're concerned with how easily transmissible the virus is, but also severity. And Kwame has just said, that it looks like the virus is mutating to be maybe, like he said, it's early days yet, but a little less severe. How soon will we be able to know, how severe it is?
No, thanks for that, and a very good morning to you. I like the way you say a lot of us were asymptomatic. Right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've never tested positive, but I could have had it.
Kwame said, exactly. Anyway, I think there's a delay on my line, so it should be okay, though. But saying more seriously, as Kwame said, we do not yet know, and it's really important to be very clear about the fact that we do not know. What we know is that the mutations suggest that this virus will be able to, or have had it before, the possibility of you getting it might still be high. Now, what we know about this virus is that the mutations seem to be a combination of all the mutations that have taken place already. So it's like a super mutated virus. The mutations that were present with the beta, and then with the delta and the gamma and all the others seem to be present, plus much, much more. And so the risk of it being a highly transmissible disease, as well as perhaps a virus, as well as perhaps the virus that would cause more severe disease, is high. What we've seen so far is milder disease, and that's only what we've seen so far. But the verdict will be out within the next 2 weeks to 1 month. This is what the WHO is saying. Now, the reason is simple. One, the amount of time it takes just to understand the way these mutations work. Now, we know these mutations, but how they will pan out in real life is as yet unknown. And so what this means is we need to allow for the passage of time and eventually to see what the outcomes will be in people. So this is why there's been this more or less knee-jerk reaction from many governments, because they would prefer to be safe than sorry, although I do not agree with the measures that have been taken. So in terms of banning travel from South Africa and so on. But it just tells you that everybody's really treading very cautiously for two reasons. One, we don't want to repeat of the mistakes that happened with the Delta. The world economy is looking to move forward during this season, and nobody wants to put this at risk. And this is why the extra precautions are being taken all over the world, including here in Ghana, where December has been declared as the month of vaccination, which is really the way we should go.
Right, okay. Kwame, let me come back to you for a second. And on a lighter note, because this has been bugging me for days, who names the viruses? Like, okay, so there was Delta, I'm just wondering, what does Omicron mean? Where did it come from? Who names the virus? Can you unmute? Please? We can't hear you.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I said biological nomenclature varies. I'm quite sure you've heard about HIV-1, HIV-2. They are different forms of the same virus. Normally, in the past, when a virus emerged, they will name it after where it was found, like Ebola, found around a part of Zaire and a river which had the name Ebola. And those things led to stigmatization of countries and of specific areas, because if you were named, let's say if a virus came and it was named Kumar, everyone would know that, oh, if you go here, you're going to get the virus.
Yeah.
So when this came, if you remember at the outset, they used to say the Wuhan strain, then they'll say the South African strain, they'll say the Brazilian strain, and they'll say the Kent strain. which were different strains, but these were leading to stigmatization. So the WHO decided that this time they were going to use the Greek alphabet convention. So alpha, beta, gamma, mu, and Omicron is the 15th alphabet of, the 15th letter of the Greek alphabet. People would say, but why have you gone from Delta and suddenly to Omicron?
Exactly.
If you look at the nomenclature, it seems to suggest that every 2 mutations was giving a number. So alpha had 2, then beta looks like 4, and that sort of thing. If you look, the initial number of mutations that were identified, like John was saying, now there are a lot more, were about 30. And so they decided to use the 15th letter of the Greek alphabet, and that's where Omicron has come from. So it is that the nomenclature they use, and there are so many reasons that would go into scientists deciding based on a new microorganism or a new structure what nomenclature they are going to use in their naming.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that lesson in naming viruses. Great stuff. I've had a few people ask, where the names come from, so I just thought I'd clear that. But okay, so a few weeks ago, the Minister of Tourism declared that December was going to be December in Ghana. That's what it was called. It's going to be a fun December. We're going to have all our concerts, all the fun stuff that we do here in Ghana during Christmas time, because, our numbers have been good. We've been vaccinating. December's vaccination month, all of that. He was expecting about 150,000 people coming into the country for Christmas. And then enter this new variant. So 2 questions. One, is it sustainable to still expect that we'll have that number of people coming in? And 2, will there be, some sort of consequence if we allow that kind of partying and chilling and all of that to go on over Christmas? And Kwame, you can take it first, and then Dr. Mwesi, I'd love to hear your opinion as well after that.
Interesting. You need to be cautious because our vaccination coverage is low. At the moment, there are only about 6% of Ghanaians, if that, who are fully vaccinated. So we need to be cautious and we need to obey the protocols. So I would say party with caution. To go all out would be taking us to the place where we were probably last December, because this is a strain that spreads pretty quickly. If you look at the Johannesburg area, it's pretty taking over. The last check I did, it's 93% of all cases are being reported. So given the opportunity, it could hurt us. And so much as tourism brings revenue to the economy, and like John said earlier, economies want to recover, we also need to bear in mind that the recovery should be underpinned by public health expediency. And for me, to go all out partying, beaching and all that without masks and other things would not be prudent and would not be expedient from a public health standpoint.
Right, okay. Dr. Mwesi, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I hope you can hear me. My line has not been very friendly this morning. But as Kwame rightly mentioned, we need to understand that virus can spread much faster. And what this means is that partying or gathering together in large numbers or in masses is going to be totally disastrous for us. We may say we do not know right now how severe the disease that is caused will be. But as I said, you cannot afford to make mistakes with this. We've seen mistakes being made in the past, especially in the West, with this virus, and how the little mistake you make at a point in time comes back several months to bite really, really hard, leading to lots of death and ultimately a massive dent on the economy. So if you think about what it means to sacrifice the enjoyment of the Christmas, I'm not saying there shouldn't be any partying or gathering, but really adhering to the protocols and doing our very best, everything within our capacity, and especially to people who might feel slightly ill or unwell, just really to be responsible and just stay at home and not go out. I think if we are more circumspect, we can scale through this with minimal trouble. And what we need to understand is also the fact that the risk of more variants emerging is ever present, especially in populations like ours that don't have a large number of people vaccinated. And it's not surprising that we saw this emergence in South Africa. One, because although they have vaccinated a very large number of their people, they also have a large population of immunocompromised people on account of HIV/AIDS. And this sort of exposes the virus for longer periods of time to people. And this increases the risk of variants evolving. So our continent is a very special one in the sense that it is the continent that is most prime for the emergence of variants. Thankfully, the impact on death has not been as heavy as other parts of the world, but it just means that we need to make a concerted effort to be really, really careful. I wanted to just touch on something really quick, which is on the naming of the variant, which Kwame made mention of. And one thing I find so intriguing is how they skipped the names. And then Kwame, I know you wanted to come to this, but because of the time, and they skipped the she, the XI, simply because they didn't want to be offensive to China. And I thought that was very interesting. I wonder how kind they would have been to other parts of the world if they weren't as powerful. But I found that really intriguing.
Yeah, they skipped the new as well. If you realize they skipped the new as
That's
well.
right. They said they didn't want it to sound like a new virus.
Right, okay. Well, thank you for that. Interesting clarification there. And we're going to speak really quickly to the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar Bhaji, who is also joining us this morning. Good morning, Doc, and welcome to the AM show.
Good morning, and good morning to your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us. So I think I basically probably have just one question for you, and that is, how ready are we to deal with this new variant in light of the coming numbers we're expecting coming into town, in terms of the airports, in terms of our PCR testing, in terms of vaccinations? How ready are we?
Well, thank you very much. I think the readiness also starts with the communication. I think we need to move away from the fear part and also push towards vaccination. Yes, we have a huge capacity for testing. I'm sure that one is not in doubt. Across the country, in every region, we are ready for our surveillance, and that's why we were able to pick it up within a week of, let's say, assessment of our periodic genomic sequencing, both within at the airport for those travelers coming in and in-country assessment for now. So what we are going to do, and as the whole world is doing, the best response is the protocols adherence and, most importantly, vaccination. We're going to come out with a full analysis of the figures we have seen, and so that will make a case as to what should be the best response. And our best response we are recommending, that we also expect the media to facilitate, is that Delta came, we made the same noise, it came. Omicron, we made the same noise, it will come. But the solution is, if all of us are vaccinated, we will be protected, and even we are also protected from severe disease if we are. So for us, the best is, that's why we have declared this month as the month of vaccination, so that we can get a larger, severe number of the population vaccinated, so that we can also avert any spread.
Are we going to be discouraging tourists from coming into the country, or perhaps making it a little bit more difficult with tighter restrictions?
Well, I think for now it has been more of information management and ensuring that people get vaccinated and getting protected to come in. But those decisions go way, way beyond the Ghana Health Services. But I believe that if we encourage our visitors to get vaccinated before they come into the country, that would be a big boost, because we also have to balance other things with just the COVID. And I believe that one of the key things that we have to start looking at, how do we stabilize a system that manages COVID, so that we can also do other things and not unduly focus on the COVID pandemic.
Okay, when you say how do we stabilize the system that manages COVID, are you talking about our
we
hospitals?
mainstream all the systems we have, our testing capacity, our ability to diagnose, our ability to treat, so that we don't have a knee-jerk reaction. But I think we have institutionalized most of it, and how to ensure that we all adhere to the protocols and the principles that have been we've been preaching over the last 20 or so months. To see how the same way we are managing our things, we can also manage our COVID and also be able to go on with it. But as long as we keep on flagging from a non-adherence to protocols and we're having a surge and we have to rush to go and look at it, it takes attention away from other very critical areas of health.
Okay, my last question is, whilst we focus on getting everyone vaccinated, I think the target is 20 million. Whilst we focus on that, is there a plan from the Ghana Health Service for booster shots at some point, especially for those who were vaccinated as far back as March, April, May, around that time?
Well, that is it's a question that has to do with availability of vaccine and the priorities we have. Currently, we have vaccines, but we probably don't have vaccines that will go all the way to protect people and also now go ahead to do a booster dose. So it's something that we are looking at to see what do we do. How do we prioritize some small group for booster? And those are policies we have not concluded. And this is something we are continuing to discuss. But based on availability of vaccines for all who need it, and then we go to the extra. But we might look at a few special groups based on certain
criteria.
Their criteria, their disease situation, and see whether these people who meet this criteria will be considered for booster.
For booster. Okay. Thank you. That sounds great. Thank you so much for giving us your time this morning, and have a great day. That was Dr. Patrick Kumar, Bhaji, Director General, Ghana Health Service. I think it's one main message that's running through from government to all the relevant agencies: get vaccinated. It's the best thing that you can do for yourself, for your family, and for your friends. Get vaccinated. That's how come we've dealt with smallpox, with measles, with mumps, with rubella, with all the diseases that have come and killed so many people. Vaccination, vaccination, vaccination. So get vaccinated, and then you can have a good Christmas. Because remember that you're also going to have to show your vaccination card when you're going to some events this Christmas. So you can sit at home. We will go and chill and come, as Kwame Eugene says in his song. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we have a little bit more for you before the end of the show. Don't go anywhere.
What's up, guys? My name is Sammy Forson, host of the Weekend City Show and Ignition right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Well, anytime you happen to be busy and you miss out on your favorite shows right here on Joy FM, here's what you can do. Log on to myjoyonline.com/podcast. Just go on there and you'll find all your shows on demand 24/7. There you can catch up. Remember, Joy FM remains your radio for discerning listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Looking forward to see you. And thank you guys, especially for staying tuned in. We're so grateful. A very big thank you to all our members of parliament who have been here this week to tell their sides of the story. We're really hoping that today will be a good day in parliament and that some progress will be made. A very big thank you to my producer, directors, camera, lights, action, everybody who makes the show possible. You guys are amazing. Thank you for the energy. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's a holiday, so you don't need to go far. Just open your eyes, switch on the TV. We'll be here. Lots of fun, lots of music, fun conversations, everything that makes a Friday morning just perfect. This is the AM show. My name is Anima Animado, and we'll do this again tomorrow. Stay tuned in.